It's another Thursday. We've made it into this new year a couple of times. And we're still here. Time travel is
We
clearly not
are.
possible, or somebody would have done
Yep.
something.
Well, yeah, somebody needs to give a bit of a distraction for the state of the world, and hopefully we can provide a little bit of that for you with
Absolutely
some
true.
humor.
Absolutely true. Um, I think I think we should go ahead and give the warning out because, again, some of the crime scene photos may be disturbing to people who have wandered here looking for some knitting video or something. Um,
Yes.
this is not that. If you're easily
Not at
disturbed,
all.
and or if you're not disturbed at all, I mean you personally, um, you might want to.
Although
You
I
might
will
want.
say, I will. I will say I do remember. I think it was BTK, but it was one of these serial killers took up knitting. Manson, that's who it was. It was Charles Manson who learned how to knit.
Really?
Behind bars, yeah. They taught him and he did it. So, anyway, yeah, just a disclaimer about some of the pictures. They are pretty gruesome.
Yes. And before we get into all of the gruesomeness, I just wanted to share our M of the Week picture, which is actually the first picture we ever had of M. And here she comes. Come on,
Aww.
come on. Oh, I hate the lag
Aww.
time. There it is. When she was a little tiny baby.
Aww. She's a cutie.
Yeah, she was a rescue, and and she was acquired at auction. Actually, for it was a fundraiser for the rescue organization, and
Oh.
she was just too cute to pass up.
I can definitely see that. And absolutely.
And she still likes
So.
to sleep. All right, we have a very very interesting story today, and what I want to start. This brought to mind a question that I've had for a while, and I don't know if there's a clinical answer for this or a legal answer for this, but the fact that this guy was in Colombia brought to mind, that the cartels down there
Pablo Escobar.
have
Yeah,
killed
and the like.
lots of people, right?
Oh, yeah.
And yet,
Definitely. They've
yet,
destabilized entire governments,
sure,
too.
yeah. And then there's people like the Iceman, who was a legit, actual, paid money hitman.
Yeah. Oh, and a diagnosed psychopath, too.
Oh, no question about it. But
Um,
was he and those like him, if you were paid to kill somebody and you only kill people because you are paid or because it's part of your job, does that make you a serial killer or not?
in my opinion, yes. And that is because the generally accepted definition is three or more murders with a cooling off period in between each. It doesn't say anything about motive. Now, of course, it wouldn't make a guy like Kuklinski a lust murderer, um,
So you're
like so
saying
many of them that we
saying
talk
that
about
the
on the show.
still a serial killer, just different motivation.
Exactly, yeah. He would not be a lust murderer.
Right.
Um, which in some ways, lust murderer is a lot more accurate for a lot of these guys we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
than just serial killing. And I think that lust murder is probably the best adjective for La Bestia, Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos, who we'll be talking about today.
Yeah.
This guy is probably the most lethal serial killer that you have heard about.
And more
I didn't hear
more
about him
lethal
myself
than
for a
most of the
while
ones you
back.
have heard about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Samuel Little, he killed what, 90 something
Was
in
he
this country?
Detroit?
He was all over,
Okay.
pretty well coast to coast. He was a drifter, not unlike Luis Alfredo Garavito, by the way. But yeah, there you have a map of Colombia and Peru.
Hold on.
Um,
We've got a buffering issue.
yeah, I noticed that a second ago on my computer. It went away though.
I've got a green box on OBS,
Uh-oh.
but not on. Uh, let's see what happens here. It says it's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming.
Huh. I am not sure what that means. Wish I
Okay.
could
Well,
help.
it should be fine.
Okay. But yeah, where were we? Oh yeah,
Oh,
Sam Little.
okay. We're back
He
to a
was
good
in.
connection.
Oh, good, good. Sam Little. He was in the '90s for the ones he killed. Now with Garavito, that number could be as high as 300.
Three,
Um,
three, 300. Can you name
yes.
anybody with a higher number than that? I mean, even Shipman was less than that.
The only ones I can think of with a higher number than that would be the people who ran the gas chamber at
Yeah.
Auschwitz. Um, but 300 is what he confessed to. In court, they only got him for 174.
Only.
Yeah. And that equaled a sentence of 1,853 years.
That
Um,
that you'd think that would do it.
you would think so, but this gets even weirder. You see, this guy, when he was arrested, he ended up really cooperating with the police. And part of Colombian law stipulates only 40 years for a murder. So what happened was, because of his cooperation and drawing out that map that we had up of all the bodies with all the weird crisscross arrows on it,
Yeah, hold on.
because of that, he will be released in 2021.
There's the what does this say that again? Why does this map get him off the hook?
It
Cross there.
apparently in Colombia, it counts as helping the police, as cooperating.
Oh, right.
Um, so they cut his sentence down to 22 years, and he will be out this year in 2021.
You gotta
Oh,
think
and
that would
guess what?
be not good for his health to get out of jail.
No, oh no. And you know what would be even worse for it? Take a wild guess at what he wants to do when he gets out.
Become a teacher?
A politician.
Well, see, that's just fitting, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. He says he wants to be a politician to, quote, help abused children. But,
Yeah, he
um,
helped himself to them for a long time.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, his MO stayed the same pretty much throughout every single kill that he did. He would find these kids, these poor street urchins on the street, and he would offer them candy, a little bit of money, sometimes a job, or marijuana or alcohol, and they would walk with him to get it. But the thing was, he was walking them to the point of exhaustion, to where they could not move anymore. And he
And they
would
couldn't,
usually,
so they were easier to subdue.
right, right. And usually he would walk them into a area that has tall vegetation. So, to provide a little bit of cover for what he's doing. And then from there, he would bind their hands and their ankles, torture them, and then either just cut them across the throat to get them to bleed, or full on decapitate them.
Wow.
And with some of them, he also left bite marks and removed the genitalia. So this guy
And
is,
and what I read was that he forced these boys to endure lengthy sessions of torture.
yes,
This was not a
that
quick
he
thing.
did. Yeah, yeah, it wasn't by any means quick. Um, and when he was done with a lot of them, he would bury them in mass graves, one of which I believe we have a picture of.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, his MO with that, besides what I described, he changed his appearance very, very frequently. And the guy was essentially a master of disguise. And part of what nailed him is when, yeah, there's the mass grave. Looks like something you would find at a country that did ethnic cleansing. It just
Yeah,
dumped them
yeah.
all in.
Yeah, killing fields type of thing. Looks
Yeah,
very much like that.
I mean, it's just amazing. But yeah, his MO beyond what I described, he would often dress like a priest. Um, he would often dress just like a bum or an old man, and he would seem trustworthy to these kids, especially when he would entice them with food, candy, or cash. Um, but the glasses, like I said, were ultimately a big part of his undoing. He had a very specific eye condition, and he ended up accidentally leaving his glasses at one of the crime scenes. So that was a big part of what screwed him.
He wasn't really careful at all, really. I mean, in his disposals, from what I
No,
understand, he left a ton of evidence behind in these graves and with the bodies.
yeah, he wasn't careful at all. And like the three children that were found naked and dead on a hillside in 1998, and he just left them there. Did no effort to conceal at all. But I think when you get down to it, while he's obviously not an organized killer, he's not really disorganized either. he shows a mixed sort of pathology because he is, smart enough to change his appearance often
Hmm.
and everything else like that. But yeah, that is some of the art that was done around where they found some of the dead children. Is
Yeah,
incredible.
it's you don't really see serial killers going after high profile victims, people who will be
No.
noticed, people who will be missed, people who will be looked for. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they 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 pick victims off of the slag heap of humanity, so to speak. You know, the ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the closest to that would have been Bundy. He wasn't he didn't go after like hookers and homeless people and that kind of thing. He took pretty high profile victims, like off of college campuses, and that really
That
freaked
he
people out.
did. Yeah.
But generally
Yeah, and
speaking, go ahead.
I mean in Colombia there was a surplus of street urchins too for
Oh yeah, a lot of
the
countries have
Civil
that.
War. Yeah, exactly. Um and a lot of them formed gangs and whatever else have you.
Right,
But
right. They, older kids will make gangs with littler kids in part, out of self defense.
yeah,
You know,
to protect themselves,
protect themselves as
absolutely.
much as everyone else. I mean, it's a kind of a group effort because their conditions are so rough and dangerous.
Oh yeah.
But then that just leads to, and not just, but it also leads to a lot of abuse within the gang.
Yes. Yes, it definitely does. Um, and the other trick that he used, I'm not sure if he learned this from American serial killers or not, but he moved often between
Ah,
the 13 different states in Colombia, in order to flout jurisdiction, as it
and
were.
confuse them.
Yeah, exactly. But he ended up murdering in 54 cities in Colombia and northern Ecuador.
Wow,
Uh, oh, and there were a total of 25 bodies in that mass grave.
just that one.
Yeah, just that one. And on quite a few of them, decomposition was so bad, forensic anthropologists could not do anything with the information. And remember, because a lot of these kids are poor, dental records aren't an option.
Right.
Um,
Well, and even
and
if they,
that,
I mean, they would have. These are kids living on the streets. How would they find anybody who would even know who they were?
yeah, yeah, I mean, nobody would miss them.
No.
Absolutely no one. But there is one exception that we will get into when I get to the note. But yeah, the what they ended up using on a few of the skulls is pretty cool. Is forensic art, facial reconstruction through forensic
Oh,
art.
okay.
It's a pretty
Through
cool
like
field if people haven't studied it.
uh, using modeling clay and that kind of thing, or digital, or drawings, or how did they do that?
I
What
believe,
was the medium?
being in 1999, I would think that it would be clay
Okay.
that they used. Yeah, kind of not unlike the ones that are on the hillside there.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
There it is again.
But
Yeah. Um, Well, they did that a lot in the TV show Bones.
Yeah, I need to watch more of that. I think I've only seen a couple episodes,
That's enough.
but
I like the show,
yeah,
but it gets like every show, it's a little bit ridiculous. Even though the forensic anthropologist whose life it's based on is a consultant on the story, it's still Hollywood.
yeah, this is true. So prone to their hyperbole.
Don't believe the science on any TV show if the computers make bleeping noises.
Yeah, yep. Um, but let's see. He studied his victims pretty well before he nabbed them too. His type was light skinned. Um, oh, and just to put it in perspective a bit with Colombia, there's 41 million people in the country. And the main city that he hunted out of, I have to find the spelling of it again. Villavicencio,
Yeah.
440,000 people in it. But like we said, he hunted all over too. Um, but
So that is just slightly more than the state of California, population wise.
yeah, yeah, essentially. I would think it might be. I wonder what the geographic size is if you compare the two.
All right.
Colombia's not a small country geographically.
Um, let's see. What does it say? Da-da-da-da.
Our one exception for the parents who were worried, it was in Villa Vicencio, where Ivan Sabagal and his other friends were trying to sell lottery tickets and gum in the street in order to supplement the family's income. And when Ivan didn't return home, his mother went and complained. She raised enough hell that it ultimately got them to do something, which was good, of course, but
Ah, so California is 163,000 square miles,
wow.
and Colombia is, oh, come on, I had this. There we go. 440,000 square miles. So Colombia is actually like twice, three times the size physically,
Wow.
with
It's
roughly the same
amazing.
population. So there's a lot of unused space there.
Yeah.
Because California has a lot of open space, unused space.
Mhm.
They have
Yeah.
all those mountains, the farmlands, the rural areas, the pot fields. The forests.
Yeah, and Colombia has the jungles, so
Yeah.
um but yeah, after that happened and the police were alerted, that was when the bodies of the three naked children were found at on that hill at a farm in Genoa. Uh, Showed signs of torture and dismemberment. They were last seen 5 days earlier in the company of an older man. Um, in this case, it started this sort of wave of disappearances of children. And in fact, the Attorney General created a special commission on it because, as you can imagine, there was also a lot of something that we've seen before with this rumors
Oh,
going
sure,
around.
sure.
You had the child sex trafficking rumor, you had the organ harvesting rumor,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
just a pedophilia rumor, and you even had Satanism again.
All of the top favorites.
Yeah, let's wallow in the bullshit some more. But
Was
it,
the Catholic Church ever figured into some of that? I'm sure it
you know,
was.
I'm sure they probably did. Yeah, down there, despite the fact that our government basically debunked it in
Oh, yeah,
1992.
sure, but you know, um, urban legends and rumor mills and all that kind of stuff, they're pretty impervious to facts.
Yep, conspiracy theories are that way. Um, let's see. It was also at this time, though, that the jurisdictions began sharing info, which was a good thing.
Ah, yeah.
Um,
And
and
what year again were we talking about here? 90,
98,
98. Okay.
yeah. And they actually, this is when they found his glasses at the crime scene.
Ah,
And they also found a note that led to his old girlfriend's house. And it had the name on it of Morera Liscano, which we had talked about trying to get a translation on that. It's actually a combination of his mother's maiden name and his father's middle name. Um, and that's something that, again, he used a lot of were aliases. So that's what he was arrested under initially for that and for a sexual assault that they couldn't pin on him.
well, they got him on some other things, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, he has one of the highest proven number of victims, as we talked about. He also killed a handicapped boy age 16, though his main victim pool was age 8 to age 13. Um, and this paper, this source I was looking at for it, was from a doctor who actually went down, spent time in Colombia, and talked to the investigators
Yeah.
and Garavito himself, which now being in prison, he's called, as our title shows, La Bestia, the Beast, as his
Yeah.
main nickname.
So he was not his. Uh, the time of his he was operating.
Mm-hmm. It's about 1993 to 1998, 99.
Say say that again.
It was about 1983 to 1989 was his time frame.
99 though, not 89, right? 83 to 99.
Yeah,
Six. Yeah.
93 to 99.
Oh, like 6 years is all.
Yep.
That's astonishing. How long? We were just talking last week about the Yorkshire Ripper that went on. It seemed like decades before they could catch that son of a bitch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Colombia, you're talking about a war torn country at the time. And
Right?
you're also talking about a country that was being terrorized by a few other serial killers too. And I wrote down one of their names here. Let's see if I can find it. Um, Pedro Alonso Lopez was the other big one, but he only targeted women. So,
Well, I mean, my point is this country that many might consider a little kind of less advanced in the old police detective, crime solving department,
mm-hmm.
um, managed to catch this monster. I mean, thank goodness they did in only 6 years. Look what he did in 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
exactly.
when the sophisticated coppers in Yorkshire, in Leeds and Bradford, took like I don't know 20 years, god damn it, to catch the Yorkshire Ripper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Um, yeah, and once you consider that they should have had more experience with that too, with the
Yeah,
Moors
the Moors
murders.
murders. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Fred and Rose West. Uh, you know, they England had its share of serial killers. They should have been able to figure something out. But clearly,
Yeah.
the Colombian cops, uh, they did something right. Well, again, he was caught what, kind of accidentally, wasn't he?
Yeah, more or less. They caught him with that note that had his ex's address on it, his glasses, and then a sexual assault that turned out to be basically bullshit. So,
Yeah, but still, right?
yeah, I mean, it was enough to get him in and get them on, his trail, which was a good thing. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I still don't understand why they're gonna allow this son of a bitch out this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they go through with that.
Yeah, I mean, it will definitely keep you guys updated in the Facebook page about that if we hear more about when he's coming out. And things are just so absurd in the world right now. I honestly would not be surprised if he won whatever political post he's gonna pursue. Honest to God,
Well,
it
I
would not
mean,
surprise me.
you gotta give him this much. You know what you're getting with him.
Yeah, this is true. And still people would vote for that guy.
Yeah.
Um, but man, Luis Garavito.
Wow, that's just crazy.
Yeah,
And what's really wild, you know, so many parents in the world are so self-centered that they don't even consider the effects of their what they do on their children long term. Um,
yeah, oh yeah. So I
because
mean, that's
clearly this was a serial killer who was made.
yes, oh absolutely. In fact, that's one thing I was just gonna touch on was his background. His dad was a horrid alcoholic who beat him unmercifully. His mother was a prostitute, and his dad, one of his favorite things to do was force his son to watch his mother work. And then after that, he would say, "It's your fault she's doing that." So,
Which is, um, when you understand,
beyond fucked up.
it's way beyond fucked up because for, for one reason. Okay, so this is children's brains are when children are born and their entire universe is themselves. And why? And as it should be, I think, because that's their entire experience is what's going on with them, right?
Yeah,
And it takes a long time, years and years and years, to get their worldview to be outside of themselves.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I mean,
and
ego formation,
right,
basically.
and because children's uh, locus of, I don't know, something is so internal, it's easy for them to believe that everything that happens is because of them.
Yeah,
And
that's easy on its own. Uh,
yeah,
y-
yeah,
I mean,
under
besides
normal
having a father
circumstances,
yelling it in your face,
under
too.
normal circumstances, I mean, kids think their parents are getting divorced because of them, which is almost never the truth. But it's
Mm-hmm.
because they think I caused that, or because that's just how kids are.
Yeah,
And then again, you take somebody like this asshole who's telling the child this is because of you, which was
yeah.
not even closely true. Not even a sliver of truth to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indefinitely. And it makes me wonder if that's also a big reason why he was gay. Uh,
Yeah, maybe.
looking at women that way, his father forcing him to do that. And then on top of it, you have a complex where he's probably seeking unconsciously his dad's love.
Sure,
Um,
sure. Yeah. Um, Approval seeking is, for a lot of people, very difficult to habit to get out of.
mm-hmm. Almost definitely. It's sad. With a few of these, and I think Garavito is a big one, you can draw a line directly from that history to his killing.
Yeah. Gein was one.
Yeah,
Ed Kempler.
yeah, Kemper. It's another. And
I,
there's
yeah.
just a
There's a
lot.
lot of them. A lot of them. Um, they were Fred West, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, where it's just astonishing how these parents will just, in their infinite selfishness, um, do horrible things to their kids and think that it's not going to have any effect on them, or not
Yeah.
care if it does.
Oh, yeah. And I also wonder if maybe he didn't have a bit of a John Wayne Gacy complex about him as well. So that's another one whose father was just absolutely horrible to him. Called him fag very
Hmm.
often, called him queer very often. And he ended up burying that and letting it fester, and it became murderous sexual rage. Which, by the way, I don't think we talked about this on the air. My second cousin actually guarded John Wayne Gacy in prison.
No, you did not mention that.
Yeah, he guarded Gacy and he guarded Richard Speck for a time. Which, Speck, for people who don't know, was the psychopath who killed, I think, 6 nurses in Chicago.
Yeah.
Um, but my second cousin said that Gacy was a rather model prisoner. When he was around, he was a decent fellow. But Speck was just damn weird. That he told me a story about them tossing his cell one day. I'm not sure why, but they found all this hardcore pornography in there, a Polaroid camera, and a bunch of different, I guess you could call them cheesecake shots of Richard Speck and drag.
Where was he getting outfits to take pictures of?
That's a good question. I'm not sure how they got in there, but
Wow.
they found all that. Think about like basically Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the
Oh
Lambs
my word.
when he's doing that dancing.
Yeah.
But yeah, my cousin, he went in there and he's just, yeah, that's weird. So,
Yeah, one of these days I'm going to see if we can get on a friend of mine who says that she knew Bundy as a child. And
eh,
she's like, I don't know, 10 years or so younger than me. That her mother was Bundy's one of Bundy's drug dealers,
wow.
and
Yeah, we need to
that
get
they
her on.
that they went skiing together. And
Yeah, we should definitely get her on.
I'll
I
have to
could,
yeah, I'll have to see if she's willing to talk.
I'll
Apparently,
have
apparently
to.
her mother has a photo of Bundy on her mantle.
Yeah, we need to see that. I'll
I
see if I could get my second cousin too. I think he would be amenable to talking. The other thing that he did for the state of Illinois in the prison system, he was part of a elite SWAT unit that would go around, and their only job was putting down prison riots as they happen.
wow,
So, I mean, he's
it's
worked
crazy that they
in,
have to have a full-time team for that.
yeah, it really is. But yeah, he's retired from the prison now, but I'm sure he would probably talk too. I'll ask him.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, I think we're gonna wrap up a little early tonight, which is okay to do sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes we run long,
definitely.
sometimes we run short.
Sometimes when you have a high number of victims like this, it's easy just to tell the story of a few of them
Yeah. We,
because you really can't tell of all of them.
I'm sure
And
most of them, nobody even knows their names.
yeah, oh, most likely.
Alrighty.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night, all.